that are dependable. There's so many things, and that's a part of every discussion we have when we're talking about adding a player to the mix. And you can deviate from time to time, but it's usually not going to end up well. So we've gotten better at not doing that.
How do you define spirit?
I think the spirit and probably the intangibles, the things that, but those are so critical to a team. And when you get a bunch of guys like that, you have the character, you have the grit. A lot of people have buzzwords to define it. But you can see it, you can feel it, and it's pretty palpable. And we got a lot of guys who fit that mold.
John, you experience tangibles?
Man, he's a special guy. I think Brock's got, I always find it interesting when and there's a lot of great players, they mix a confidence that's kind of unparalleled with the humility as well to be one of the guys, to accept roles. And I think Brock's got leadership in that. To me, leaders make everyone around him better. Brock's got that ability. He's got a poise and a calmness. Brock's got a lot of faith in his life. I think it shows in the way he plays the game. Probably that confidence and that humility that I talked about. So you can go on and on with the intangibles that Brock has, and it's what made him such a success in his short time in the league.
John, you experience as a player. What does winning a Super Bowl do for the perception of a player or a coach? How does it just change how people...
I don't focus a lot on the perception. I choose to focus more on the reality, and I know what it does. It's something people, and there's certain things that are old adages or cliches, but I do know that when I talk to Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber and Warren Sapp, that's something that they can never take, that group, so that's real. That's not a perception. That's something that they can never take from that group, and that's something special. So it's what you strive for. It's what you play for if your mind's right in this league, and we got that opportunity.
John, I've heard you say before that you can't keep everybody in a salary cap league.
Yeah.
How have you guys kept so many big stars in a salary cap league?
When you get a lot of good players, it gets harder and harder, and so there's challenges each and every year. You got to try to make value judgments. That's why the draft is typically, it should be your lifeblood of who you are, because those players are cheaper. I don't like talking to players like that, but that's just the reality of how our league's set up. So you better be good at drafting and have a number of hits there. It's not the only way. We try to acquire any means necessary, but I think the key there is you better be good at drafting, because if you're just trying to go get free agents every year, it's not sustainable.
John,
go ahead, Lindsay.
Thank you. You put together a lot of special rosters. What's the defining characteristic of this 2023 group?
Yeah. I think that's still unwritten, but to me, a lot the spirit I was just talking about. I think this group, it's obviously a very talented group, probably as talented a group as I've seen assembled, like just the way they complement each other and everything, but they do have a special spirit evidenced in the last couple of weeks. Those games haven't gone like we would have written a script, coming out fast and all that. It hasn't, we've been tested, but their resilience has paid off. Their belief has paid off, and so I think that's what I think about most. There's a lot of great leadership on this team, a lot of love for each other, and that's what I think about when I think of this group.
John, what have you shared? I'm sure you love this question, but the last 6 minutes of the Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs, where did you watch that from, and what are your memories from that experience?
Yeah, I watched it from down on the field. The NFL security came and got me, and just kind of went down. That's they told you they needed you down there, so not a good memory. The one that got away. So that's a memory there.
John, what have you shared with the group about what it takes to win a Super Bowl based on your own experience?
Well, I think what I've been able to, whether it be individually or if I've had an opportunity to speak to the team, it's just the opportunity at hand. And you try to give, from doing it when I played, from doing it here, you're going to not look back and say, man, I wish I would have gone out more in Vegas. You're going to look back and, this is the time to dial in. Steve Young said it well, no FOMO here. This is all about the opportunity at hand. And I think our guys have done a really good job of that, being really focused on the challenge, on the opportunity. And it's rare. It's hard to get here. So you want to make the most of it.
Can I ask you a follow-up on Brock? This whole concept of analytics. Analytics say when you're the last person drafted, I think I might know your answer, but when you're the last person drafted, when you're Mr. Irrelevant, the analytics say you're not going to get to this point here.
Yeah, but I think he's bucked that trend, you know, and you know, shame on everyone for waiting so long, including us. You know, I think he's proven that he probably should have been drafted a lot higher, but I'm just grateful we have him. I really am.
At what point did you know last season that you wanted him to be your starting quarterback?
Last one, guys.
Yeah. You know, like Kyle said, and earlier, we could see right away we had something, you know, and but we also had other guys that we had a lot of belief in, and so I think when Jimmy went down in Miami and he went in there and handled it, because you never really know until you know, and he got thrown into that game, and the poise with which he attacked that game, and if you think back to that game, they came after him. It wasn't like they sat back and made it easy. They came after him, and man, he stepped up to the challenge, and that made everyone say, wow, you know, that's
Thank
cool.
you.